the limelight after their father has left office, but not all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
John F. Kennedy Jr. spent his life in the limelight until his tragic death in 1999, mourned by millions who felt like they really knew him. Gary Tuckman, CNN, Atlanta.
Many of the children of presidents grow up to suffer tragic fates. That's one conclusion reached by Doug Wead, who has written a new book, All the President's Children. He was able to contact 19 of the 27 children of presidents who are still alive today. And Doug Wead joins us from Washington. Good evening, Doug.
Good evening, Connie.
Now, it was FDR who said, and I quote, "One of the worst things in the world is being the child of a president. It's a terrible life they lead." You spent 15 years researching this book. What do you think?
Well, it's true, but there's both. There's also triumphant stories. The story of Webb Hayes is no one in Hollywood could dream up a story like this guy. He's a multi-millionaire who risks it all as a soldier of fortune in China and Africa and the Crimea. So there's good and there's bad, but there doesn't seem to be much in between.
For our current president, George W., it seems as if he has things actually working against him. For one, the same name George, although his father's name was George Herbert Walker Bush, and he's not, our current president is not a junior. Number two, he was firstborn, of course, and number three, everyone in the family and elsewhere was talking about Jeb Bush, the governor of Florida, as being the person who would probably succeed in running for president and getting elected. So shouldn't people in general give George W. more credit than he's gotten for achieving what he has?
As presidential children, Connie, he's a Renaissance phenomena. I mean, John Adams II died an alcoholic at 31. William Henry Harrison Jr. died an alcoholic at 35. Calvin Coolidge Jr. died at 16 after an accident on the White House tennis courts. On and on the list goes. Andrew Johnson Jr. died at 26. Andrew Jackson Jr. died in a hunting accident. They seem bent on self-destruction. The firstborn in most families is a high achiever. The firstborn, and especially the namesake in a presidential family, there's a lot of unconscious pressure there and self-hatred and stress, and they just die young. But GW somehow survived that.
Now, our current president, GW, has referred to Saddam Hussein as the man who tried to kill his father. How much do you think that is influencing his decision about invading Iraq and creating a regime change in Iraq?
I think it's a very important part of the decision. This is nothing new. In geopolitics in the Middle Ages, a son would often take up the sword and finish his father's battles. What is new is we're seeing this dynamic because we know this president's father, and of course this is a nuclear age. We're not talking about swords. What I found in my research, Connie, is that all of us seek the approval of the father figure in our life through either mimicry or completion. Mimicry when we go to the same school, root for the same baseball team. Completion when we do what the father didn't finish or failed to do. And all through history you will find presidential firstborn sons and daughters opting for completion. John F. Kennedy Jr. became a publisher when he learned that his dad wanted to be a publisher. Teddy Roosevelt Jr. won every land medal available to U.S. forces, including the Medal of Honor, when he learned that his dad's greatest disappointment in life was not winning the Medal of Honor. And this, I can repeat almost 40 stories exactly like this. So you have in George W. Bush a man who is seeking completion. He's tying the loose ends. His father's greatest disappointment was over the public perceptions regarding his new tax plan. Read my lips, no new taxes. And George W. Bush is wiping that off the pages of history. No matter what happens, his solution is a tax cut, and Bush will become synonymous with tax cut. And of course, there's the issue with Saddam Hussein.
Now, we only have about 20 seconds left, and I want you to just mention, of course, the Bush twins, because they have had their share of problems, and you know the Bush family. To what do we attribute these problems?
Well, their life, they're young, and it's normal right now. It's too early to draw any conclusions at all from their life. I think they're going to do well because they're twins, and they'll have each other. And I think they're going to do well because, like the Wilsons, George and Laura have lived closely with their daughters, and it has its impact.
And how about Chelsea Clinton going from being a very quiet Clinton daughter to bumping noses with Madonna and Gwyneth Paltrow and the like. How did that happen?
Every presidential child I spoke with gave high marks to Chelsea because she had no sibling and still has done as well as she has. But the relationship with entertainment and presidential kids goes all the way back to George Washington Adams, who was a buddy of Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's never stopped. It's one of the presidential kids married an actress who became de facto First Lady when the First Lady died. So it's an old symbiotic relationship. The presidential child is fascinated by the Hollywood expert who knows the tricks of dealing with celebrityhood, and the entertainment celebrity is fascinated by royalty and presidential children whose celebrity never goes away. It's permanent.
Yeah, you're so right. Hollywood and the White House, they go hand in hand. Thank you, Doug Wead.
Thank you, Connie.
And still ahead.